Hey guys, it's Katie, and I'm here today to talk about how we define Booktube success. I've been on Booktube now for over 2 years, and I'd like to talk about an observation that I've made about how Booktubers and YouTubers really seem to define what success means. For some people, I know it's different, but for the overall general YouTube population, it really just seems to be about numbers and about subscribers and about views. And for me, those numbers don't necessarily mean success. There are other ways that you can determine success on this platform. And I will concede that numbers are important in some ways because the amount of people that are watching you or that are subscribing to your content promotes your channel. And by promoting your channel, that allows more people to be able to find you and more people to be able to consume your content. And I know that numbers matter in terms of monetization of a channel as well. However, in terms of our overall definition of success, that's not the only way that success can be a thing. So, for me, who is a very small booktuber and really is not less concerned about the people that are watching my channel, I used to be. I definitely, when I first started out and for the longest time, I used to be constantly obsessed with keeping an eye on my subscriber count and the views that I get. And I still periodically check, and they're very low numbers. But at the same time, I still consider myself to be a successful booktuber because I have found myself a group of really great people that I can talk to and interact with on a regular basis. I've made actual friends, and that in itself is a big success. It's another form of success. When a lot of us started our channels in the first place, I watch a fair amount of Booktube newbie tags. A lot of people say that one reason they're creating their channel is so they can make friends. They can, so they could, find more people to talk about books with. And on this platform, that's both easy and hard to do. It's easy because there are so many of us that it's easy to just reach out to someone, to comment on their video, like their video, consume their content, and then also just go over on social media and interact with people there. However, the reason it's hard is because you don't always have that connection with everyone. You might have the book thing in common. You might have the genres that you enjoy in common, but you might not have that further connection. And that's where it becomes harder. Because there are so many of us, it makes it a little bit easier, but sifting through all of the, thousands of people that create bookish content, in order to find your own group and those people that you connect with, in some ways is a little bit more difficult. And in some ways, it's easy because you find people who have similar taste as you, and you have that connection already. You talk to people, and you reach out to people, and you talk to them about that book or that series. But then having that extra step makes it a little bit more difficult. So when you find that group, I really, really, truly believe that that is a huge success in a lot of ways. But then also, touching a little bit on the numbers situation that I mentioned earlier, there are people out, even those people who have thousands and hundreds of thousands of subscribers, they have their little tight-knit group that they consistently talk to and make content with in some ways, or meet up with. They're not close and good friends with every single viewer that interacts with them. And in some cases, the bigger booktubers don't interact with all of their subscribers and all of their all of their viewers. And that to me shows a perk of being a smaller booktuber, because it's like you're able to build a more tight-knit community. If you have, the more subscribers you have and the more viewers you have, in some ways, the more hate you get and the more your self-esteem can suffer and whatnot. So I mean, it's like, while you have the monetization and you have the subscribers and the viewers, and a lot of people are really, really surprised by how many people watch them, I mean, or, you know, want more people to consume their content and whatever, the more people who are consuming the thing, it opens up doors to other things that you might not have experienced before. And honestly, I think that's something to take into account, because, you know, a lot of us do this as a hobby. A lot of us are part of the bookish community because it's something that we do in our free time. It's not our job. To use myself as an example, I am not a writer. I don't work in a bookstore. I don't work in publishing in any way, shape, or form. I just consume books for pleasure, as kind of a hobby, as a downtime thing. It's something I enjoy when I have free time. My job is really related nothing to the bookish community. I mean, do I read a lot for my job? Yes. Do I analyze a lot for my job? Yes. So by being part of this community, it's helped me with my everyday life, but it is not part of what I do on a daily basis. The more subscribers you have and the more people that watch your content, sometimes they get very demanding and they want you to cater to their every whim, or you'll get hate. And I think that that's a really detrimental part of being a larger booktuber. And that's not to say that we don't all want subscribers, but it's also something to think about. It's like, yes, you want all of these people watching you so you can have these extra benefits like monetization, for instance. But you also need to think about all the other things that come with it. So, I mean, would I be happy to grow? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm also satisfied with where I'm at in some ways. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because it's like I love interacting with the few people who I talk to on a regular basis. And I mean, but at the same time, when I post a video and it doesn't get more than, let's say, 3 views, that's a common number on some of my videos. The average amount of views I get on a video is like in the 20s. I have very few videos that are in the 3-digit range. I think I have like, 2 or 3 maybe, but the majority of them are in the 20, 30 range. And I become okay with that. But then there are the days where I don't get anything above like 3 views. And I'm like, okay, on some level I understand it, but at the same time, it's like I'm putting all of my time, you know, and effort into creating content, and sometimes just not getting the views is a little bit sad. But then I realize, you know, I can reach out to the people that I've kind of gotten to know a little bit better and talk to them, and it'll make me feel a little bit better. So I mean, I love the other bookish communities sometimes even more than the Booktube community, because talking to people on social media, for instance, like in DMing people, or, you know, being part of a conversation over on Twitter or something, is sometimes better than creating bookish content and just playing the waiting game of waiting for someone to watch your content or to comment on your content. Because sometimes that feels like what I do. It's like I'll post a video on a day, and then I'll periodically check throughout the day and see that either it's not being watched or I'm really not getting any comments. until like later in the day, and then maybe it's one or two, and then like periodically over the course of the next week I'll start to get more, but by then I've already posted new things, and it's just this constant cycle. Sometimes it's a little frustrating, but reaching out to those couple of great friends that I've made makes it all the more worthwhile, and that to me is more of the successful aspect than the actual viewers and content. You can't force someone to watch your content or to subscribe to you, but you can choose who you interact with and whose friendships you value and who you want to get to know more. And so I think really the success, in my mind at least, really comes from the connections you make with people and the friendships that you make versus the people who watch your content and comment, because you don't have control over what other people watch or what people are interested in and whatnot. I mean, there are ways you can figure it out, like looking at the analytics, but that only goes so far. Statistics and analyzing statistics isn't everything. There's also a human side of it, and figuring out what it is about a specific content creator themselves someone likes, and you can't necessarily figure that out when you don't know the person you're interacting with or even the people who are watching, because they're just a number. Sometimes you'll get a commenter and you'll be able to find out if they have a channel, and then you'll be able to find out a little bit more about them. But if it's just a number, just looking at the amount of views you've gotten, you don't know what it is about your video that they liked. You just know that they liked it. Especially since there's so much out there, so many content creators, so many people talking about the same books or doing the same tags or doing the same kinds of videos. After a while, it just gets repetitive and blends together. So it's like, what can I do to stand out? But as I said before, really just connecting with people and getting to know them on a different level, I really truly believe that that's where the success comes from, because that's something that you can see. It's something that you are experiencing in a different kind of a way. I mean, I watch so many people over on Book Twitter who like post their subscriber count. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe I got this many subscribers. It's like, yeah, you've got that many subscribers. Or it's like, I want to reach a certain goal, and then you have people retweeting and being like, you should go follow this person because ABC, or let's get this person to this number or whatever. And that's great. But because I do understand the numbers situation. I understand where people are coming from regarding that. But honestly, it all comes down to, what does a person like about a content creator? Why did they subscribe to them in the first place? Because you can't force them to. You can promote them all you want, but whether or not that person is actually going to go check them out is a different story. Go check them out, yeah, okay, great, but are they going to actually subscribe to them? I don't know. Are they going to stay subscribed to them? Even more unknown. You can't know what an individual person that you've never met is thinking. But when you interact with those people, and you interact with specific people that you have that further connection with, that is something that you can see, and that is something you can experience, and that's something that you can understand on a deeper level. And I don't know. I don't know if people feel similarly. I don't know if people really do just focus on the numbers and creating the content and whatnot. But the reason that I keep coming back, because, I could have stopped a long time ago, and 95% of my subscribers probably wouldn't care. But the people that I actually made that connection with, the like 5 or 6 people that regularly comment on my videos and that I have started to form friendships with, I think those are the people that would actually care whether I left or not. You know what I mean? When you sit back and you think about it, how many people who consume your content that you actually care about and actually talk to on a regular basis would actually care if you deleted your channel and fell off the face of the planet? How many of those people would you actually want to come back to and stay in contact with if you were to leave? You know, you've made your friends, you have your friend group, you have the common interest. But at the end of the day, how many of those people would you actually care enough to talk to even after you stop making content for whatever reason? Other life commitments, or just moving on to something else, or, you know, big life changes that impact your ability to be able to keep up something like this. How many of those people would you actually want to stay in contact with and still talk to about books and about content and about just your life in general? And I think people would be surprised to know that that number is not as big as you think. Subscribers, as I said, are important in some ways, but they're not the be and end of it all. Like, you make those connections with people, and that's really, I think, what is so wonderful about the experience in general. I mean, for me, as I said, or started to say, the reason I keep coming back is for those core people who actually regularly watch my content, or regularly talk to me, or talk to me outside of the YouTube platform, and I've made extra connections with. Because, you know, I don't make it for those, like, let's say you guys know at this point, when I'm making this video, I have 124 subscribers. When I'm making my content, I don't necessarily think of those 124 subscribers. I think of the people that I talk to regularly. Those, like, let's say they're about, I don't know, it's probably about 8 people. Those 8 people that I regularly talk to are the ones that I think about when I am making my content. I'm like, oh, this person would probably really enjoy this, or this person would probably really be into this book that I'm talking about, so I might as well, you know, do a review for it or something. Or they might be really interested in this discussion topic that I'm planning on talking about. When I'm creating them, I create the content primarily for me, but I also create it for the friends that I've made here. And I don't know if, as I said, I don't know if other people feel the same as me, but that's how I've defined my success here, is the friends that I've made rather than the subscribers that I have. And I guess that's all I've got. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because it seems to be, I don't know, it just seems to be something that I feel like our community should really talk about, and is something that I see a lot of, because I see a lot of the promotional stuff on other social media platforms, and even through the shout outs here. I mean, as I said, you can do all of that, that's great, but whether the person will actually go or they'll actually do the subscribing is something that is beyond your control. And so I just feel like putting it into a different perspective like this, and starting this conversation to spread more positivity rather than being so concerned about the numbers, is something that I feel like our community can benefit from. But as I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings and questions, queries, concerns about this down below. And other than that, you guys know the drill. I have my social media links down below. I have a Twitter, which is @ASeaofTomes, which is the same as my channel here. But then I've also got a Goodreads, and you guys can come over there and follow me and see what I've been reading and track my progress and see my general superficial thoughts on the things that I've read before I come scream at you about it over here. But other than that, I'll catch you later with another video soon. Bye.